Hello, Hubert and Jennifer again. I have to cut my videos in half because I can't exceed a certain time limit or it won't upload to my YouTube channel, which I've been having problems with. So I have made two videos of my two case studies. Hopefully that's acceptable. I hope you guys like that or whatever. If anything, just let me know. So before I start this overview, I chose this case because it has a connection to my family. My parents knew the plaintiff and his family. They went to the same school and was at the same school. They're at the school when this incident occurred, so it was pretty interesting. So the plaintiff was Roy James Pozell. He was 16 years old at the time. He was in a grade 11 physical education class where they were doing wrestling at Royal Collegiate. He suffered a fractured dislocation of the left elbow during a takedown from a standing position, which had been previously demonstrated by the class instructor. The plaintiff struck the hardwood floor of the gymnasium at a place where the wrestling mats had become separated immediately before the fall. So the trial judge found no fault in the supervision of the wrestling class provided by the instructor, and I want to highlight that because I'm going to be talking about that later. He also found that whatever type of wrestling mats was used was not uncommon. In his view, the so-called perimeter system was a dangerous one when the wrestling reached the competitive stage. In his opinion, the precautions taken to overcome the problem were not satisfactory. He concluded that the Board of Education, the Etobicoke Board of Education, I should tell you guys that because that's no longer existing, had failed to discharge the burden of proving that it had adopted the best safety precautions reasonably possible and was therefore found liable. According to the notes of negligence in Model 2 of Ethics and Legal Studies in Education, the legal elements of negligence is unintentional harm caused by the failure to eliminate unreasonable risks of injury. A risk is unreasonable if it could have been reduced or eliminated by common sense. Negligent actions in education can involve lawsuits against teachers, principals, and school boards. The judge saw that the school board was liable when this happened. I also picked this case because it is significant for me as an Ontario teacher because my main teachable is phys ed. If this were to happen to me in the classroom, I wouldn't know who would be responsible. I'm glad this course came, so I know now that there's certain areas that I could be responsible for, but also the school can be responsible or the school board. So thank you for that. This is why it's important to know your surroundings and what materials you have or equipment you have in your gymnasium and if it's safe to use. Educators are responsible for maintaining a standard of care, also known as the careful parent rule, which is to act as a reasonable, careful, and prudent parent when they are teaching, supervising, and protecting their students. Luckily, the judge found the teacher not responsible since he did everything properly, as demonstrating the proper takedown move, providing the mats that he has in his equipment storage that's provided by the school and the school board. So he was fine, which was interesting enough to know for me, in case that happened to me sometime, or I hope it doesn't happen to me. So the judge said the mats were the school board's fault because they provided them. However, the defendants appealed the decision, claiming that the school sought less costly mats, but the appeal was denied, and the school board had to pay about, I think it was over $10,000 in the whatever it was for the case. That's what he was rewarded. Interesting note that my AT has done is that he provides students with permission forms, which is also mentioned on the website, talking about voluntary assumption of risk. That's interesting enough because he had the parents and students sign and date it before they could even participate in a physical education class. That is very important because voluntary assumptions of risk are very difficult to prove, but obviously they can arise at any time during sports and games.